And this is the
You hit Amid 10 lines down, 8 lines down. No, it's not the page after that.
Amid base, but still is
Yes, it
that
was cafe, right? No, sorry. About 10 lines down, that is cafe. Yudchet.
yeah, you're right, yeah. Yeah, Tanarabana. Yitchasam and Aleph Tanarabana. So we talked about Ivri and Amavriya, and here the mission spoke about the ways to be acquired, the ways to be released. Tanarabana, Yesh Bivri, Shem Bivri, Yesh Bivri, Shem Bivri. There are some halachas that apply to Eved Ivri that don't apply to Amavriya, to a man, not to a woman. Some apply to a woman that don't apply to a man. And the Mishnah, it's going to be everyone should get ready. It's going to say things that don't make sense to us, and the Gemara is going to work on it. But first it says, Yesh Bivri Yosef Bishanim Ubiyovel Uvamisas Adam. Masha'in came Bivriya. So this doesn't make sense to us. It says that Eved Ivri, he leaves by 6 years. He gets released after 6 years, or Yovel, whichever comes first. And Misas Adam, if the master dies, so we say that he doesn't
go out unless there's a sun.
He says here that he does go.
No, he goes out.
But we said, but as you said, that if there's a sun, so he is over the Sabin. So even though it says Misa Sadon, it's saying that you have to know what it means. Misa Sadon means that he'll be released if there's no sun. But if there is a sun, so then he does have to finish his term. Unless you talk about a Nirtzah. Nirtzah does go for Misa Sadon. But this is very surprising. It says Mashay came to Ivriya, that Ivriya doesn't go out with these ways. And that's not true. The Mishnah said that she does. Yes, the Gemara asked right away. The Gemara asked the Kasha that Ivriya also does. Some Ivriya, she also leaves maximum 6 years, or Yovel and Misasa Adon. We had all that she does leave. The Mishnah said that she has all those plus also Simana. But if the 6 years, if she was sold as a 5-year-old, so when it comes 6 years, even though she's not yet 12 years old, she leaves. And if Yovel came in middle, also she leaves. And Misas Adon, she also leaves. So it doesn't make sense that the Brisa says Mashen Ken Ivriya. Here it says that Ivriya does not have these releases. It's not true. So we're going to ask the Kasha. Then the Brisa continues.
I don't remember why it was 6 years. So every 7th year you go out, but you're saying it's 6 years. Whole block of 6 years.
I'm not sure what you're referring to. You're talking about that they don't go with Shemitah.
Yeah, they don't go
so
out.
It's nothing. So that we were about ready doesn't mean
really mama 6 years.
Yeah, that's
wherever the day you start.
Yeah.
That's brand new to me.
Okay, that's
got in my mind. Thank you.
So here it doesn't say anything about that. It says the word Shana. Whenever it says 6 years, so we had it ready many times. That it doesn't mean anything to do with Shemitah. It means when from the calendar day, 6 years. They write down which day she started and when she was sold and the contract, whatever. And 6 years later, he goes free, she goes free. So the price doesn't make sense here. It says Mashen came every year, as if it says she doesn't go out 6 years, she doesn't go out in Yovel, she doesn't go out in Misa Zodan. Yeah, it has to be explained. Yes, the every year, there's some that every year has that every does not have. It's interesting, Stam Agav, that it calls it every year. Usually we don't call the Jews the Hebrews, the every and every year. It calls them Israelim. Here the pasuk calls it every year. I'm not sure why. Yesh every year, Shabbat every year, Yosef B'Simanim. Okay, that we did know that every year, once she becomes a Gedola, which means that she watched Saras after she was 12, so she's released, and even though it's within 6 years and everything, and there's no such thing by a man. A man, on the contrary, is not even sold when he's young. The father can't sell the son; he's not called his jurisdiction, and Bezdin doesn't sell him for a geneva, and he can't sell himself probably either. So the whole issue of simanim doesn't apply to a man. Now we have some more chidushim. Einan keres v'nishnes, that a girl cannot be sold twice.
When could the father sell the son?
He can't.
You never can sell.
No,
never sold the son.
No such thing as a man. A man can sell himself. More presatzmo. Once he's bar mitzvah, he can sell himself. Einan keres v'nishnes. This we didn't have. I don't think we had this yet. Einan keres v'nishnes. Amar Ria cannot be sold twice, which is going to be part of the sugya today. She can't be sold twice. If the father sold her, he can't sell her a second time. And it's going to say Ivri is different, that an Ivri could be sold twice.
Bezdin can sell them?
So that sounds like Bezdin can sell him. If he can sell himself, he can sell himself also. He can sell himself. It sounds like Bezdin also can sell him. The Gemara doesn't have problems with that. We'll see more about it soon. This is just a brisa. And also Bal Korcho. And also we could be poda her against his will. So how does that mean? We could be poda her against his will. We're being poda the Amar Ria against somebody's will. Against whose will?
Your own will?
Against his will. Maftin Osa Bal Korcho. We redeem her.
Oh, maybe if the Baal is a bad Baal, he's abusive.
What if say abusive? Maftin means you pay it out. Poda, you're allowed to be poda. Tefta. So there's such a thing called redemption. So you redeem her. The simple shot would read L'chorah that you redeem her even against the master's will. He wants to keep her. He paid for her. But we say no, she has money to redeem herself now, or someone wants to redeem her. So even if he doesn't want to, you force him. But that wouldn't make sense because right away it says Mashen came to Ivri. These three things don't apply to Eved Ivri. So we go back, Simonim, that's good. Simonim doesn't apply to Eved Ivri, makes sense because that's nothing to do with being a katan, nothing, not doesn't apply. And in Nishnes, it seems to say that Evri is not sold twice, but Evri is. Most going to talk about that. Is it possible to sell an Eved Ivri twice? And the last thing, if it means to say that Evri can be redeemed against the will of the owner, that also doesn't make sense because the Eved Ivri also could be redeemed against the will of the owner. Like it says, Giron Kesef. Giron Kesef means that if he comes up with the money to redeem himself, so he leaves and he pays the difference. And so this brisa has difficulties. The biggest difficulty is right away what it said that Ivri has what Ivriya doesn't have, and it says these three things: Shanim, Yovel, Misas, Adon. It says Mashen came Ivriya. That doesn't make sense because Ivriya also has that, and that's right away the Gemara's kasha. So far we listed the brisa, and now the Gemara is going to go back and analyze each piece of the brisa. Amamah, we just finished learning. Yesh Ivri, Shein Ivriya. And it said over there the three ways of going out: Shanim, Yovel, and Misas Adam. And it says Ivri or not. And the Mishnah said fresh not like that. There are many Kasha from our Mishnah. You say Allah Amariya. Shekona Zatzma Bisimanim. It says that she's more than the Ivri. Before the Mishnah earlier said that every Ivri goes out with these things. It doesn't say over there Misas Adam. It says in the Mishnah about Giron Kesef. Shanim Yovel Giron Kesef. But anyway, it says that Ivriya has even more than that. So that means that Ivriya does go out by 6 years. She does go out by Yovel. And Misa Saudan, also we had that she goes out with Misa Saudan. So
she has all the ones of the Ivri and
plus. And here the Bryce says that. Here the Bryce says Mashenki. She doesn't have those things, so it doesn't make sense. That's the most concept. So that's like a dochak in the brisa, but it means if he married her, means in the time that she is serving him, so he could take her. He has the option of marrying her. When the father sells her, so with the understanding, if the master wants to marry her, he has the right to. Once she's married, and then it comes 6 years. It comes Yovel. It comes Misasa Adon. That's a little there, but maybe he's miyad to her son. I suggest miyad means to marry. He marries her. So this one, we just pointed out that this whole thing about selling a daughter is not just financial business, monetary matter, because the father knows that he's selling her to somebody who has the option to marry her. So it's like a chatzi marriage that till she's ready to get married, so then she'll be working and learning how to cook and clean over there. And then the master will take her as a wife. But there is such a thing, the pasuk says openly that he has the right to marry her. So that's what the right means to say, that sometimes she's not going to get released with all of these issues because she's married. Once she's married, it doesn't make a difference. 6 years come, Yovel comes, and no more pidyon, no more redeeming because she's married. She's a regular wife now. The more asks, Yada Pshita, Gita Baya. That goes without saying. Once she married her, of course she needs to get in order to get released. And of course these things are not going to release her. The Gemara says you might have thought differently. Maybe the halacha doesn't get bata. Means that even though he married her, but it's a marriage of a Amavriya, and maybe the marriage expires when the shifchas expires. Since she was destined to be a shifcha for 6 years, so he could marry her, but the marriage is only going to be effective as long as those 6 years. Once it comes to expiration date, then maybe the marriage expires also. You might have thought such a thing, that the marriage would expire when the 6 years are over, when Yovel comes, if they poda her, that the marriage is only sitting on the Amavriya. As once she's not Amavriya anymore, maybe the shifchas also, the marriage also would expire. Kamash Mallah that Shitaka needs to get. So to us it wouldn't be a chiddush maybe, but the Gemara considers it a chiddush. That's what the Brisa meant. That if during the servitude the master married her, so then she's permanently married, and then she's a regular wife, and she needs to get released, and nothing else is going to release her. But the kasha is that the Brisa continues about simanim. She doesn't need leave when she becomes an adult either. well, once he married her, if the other married her when she was a Amar Bria, before she bought Simanim of a Gedola, so then she's married permanently, and even when she becomes a Gedola, also she doesn't leave. So the Brisa doesn't make sense because the Brisa continues and it says that Amar Bria leaves with Simanim. If you're talking about that he was Miyayid her, she does not leave with Simanim. Achi Kamar. Im lo yada, then Yosef is Simanim. If we have to stick into the Brisa, that the second thing means if there was no year. You're right. So-
I mean, this is the answer.
This is what the Brisa means to say. So we go back to the Brisa. Yesh Bibi Shem Bivriya. Yesh Bivriya Shem Bivri. Yesh Bibi Shem Yosef B'Yo Shanam B'Yo V'Lo B'Misa Sa'adon Mashen Kem Bivriya. If she got married, if he married her, but if he did not marry her, then she has all of the above and even more. Yesh Bivriya Shem Bivriya Yosef B'Simanim. Of course, only if he didn't marry her. So not so many chidushim yet. After the Gemara explains the Brisa, it looked like a real pella. The Brisa was against everything we knew. After the Gemara fixes it up, but not such chidushim that she definitely has all these ways of getting released. But if he married her, so then she's married permanently, and nothing's going to take her out. Okay, so back to where we started. For we knew all this from the Mishnah already. Okay, next thing. This is new. Einem keres v'nishnis. You can't sell her twice. That's the news. We didn't have that yet. You can't sell a daughter twice. And the Gemara here is not going to say yet, how do you know that? How do you know she can't sell it? Maybe sell it twice. You sold her when she was 5 years old for 6 years. And she's 11 years old. She comes back home. Then the father sells her again until she's a Gedola. Why
After
can't?
3 years, it was Yoga.
Okay, or Yovel, and then he sells her again. She comes home, he sells her again. So he doesn't say. The Gemara here doesn't say why not. The Gemara later on is going to say why not. That it's not mutter to sell it twice. We'll see the Gemara at the bottom of the page. But here the Gemara is interested in the other point that it says Mashen came Ivri. That means that Ivri could be sold twice.
Well, if we have no age limits.
Nothing. So I'm not talking about age. Could it be sold twice? Means however he got released. So it's 6 years. Everything be sold for 6 years. Now finish 6 years. Do another 6 years.
No, but you can be for 40 years later, you're going to sell stuff as an old man. 20 years later.
Why are you jumping with 40, 20?
Because it's much easier to stretch it out by an evidence.
Is it-
Girls only got
there's
to
a question,
certain-
could you
up to
accept-
12 years old from
Yeah.
when she can move.
A Morchus Asmo, you're talking about a person who sells himself. So it could be that a Morchus Asmo could sell himself many times. Here we're talking about he was sold
Based in-
because of a Gneva. So there's Bezdin sell him a lot of times.
Even if it didn't get paid off.
If he didn't get paid off or he stole again, is there such a thing as selling someone to be an Evidivri more than once? The Brisa seems to say yes. It says that Amavri is not sold more than once, but an Evidivri could be sold more than once. So far it sounds good. An Evidivri can be sold more than once. All the cases would be that he stole stole a bank and 6 years wasn't enough. Or he stole and served the 6 years, then he stole again, stole again.
He wasn't rehabilitated.
So here's what?
He wasn't rehabilitated.
That's right.
So the Gemara starts off that's what you're telling me, that an Amavriya cannot be sold twice, and a man, Evidivri is sold twice. And that's what the Gemara's going to work on. So the Gemara doesn't,
She doesn't do it by her own ruts. It's done
that's
through-
true, but that doesn't have
Big
to,
difference.
no. That's not the subject. Both of them are, the girl's being sold, the man is being sold because he stole. So it says Amavriya cannot be sold twice. The father cannot sell her a second time. She never sells herself. She's only a katana. So the father cannot sell her twice. And the Evidivri is sold twice. And that's going to be Gemara's issue over here. So we're not going into the psukim about Amavriya. How do you know that? That's going to be at the bottom of the page. But here the Gemara wants to know Evidivri. You seem to say, according to the Brisa, you're reading it into. So it says that Evidivri could be sold a second time. Nimka v'nishna. Nishna means to do it again. Shona, to do it a second time. So it means that he can be sold a second time. The kasha is, the Brisa says differently. But Tanya will learn to the Brisa, Bigneva so, that's the pasuk. V'nimkar Bigneva so, the main law of V'nimkar Bigneva so. If somebody stole, he doesn't have enough money to pay, so he sold for his theft. So there are a few drushes over here. We just want last with drusha, but there are a couple of drushes. Bigneva so, v'lo bikfei. That you only sell him for the gneva, you don't sell him for the kefer. That means that when he steals and he has to pay
Only
kefer.
the first time.
No, that's not what we're talking about. I put it in parentheses for you, just to point out that this is not what we're looking for.
Oh, okay.
He has to pay kefir.
He has to pay kefer. He doesn't have money to pay kefer, so he wanted to sell him. He has enough money. He stole enough. He stole, and he has enough money to pay for his gneva, but he doesn't have enough money to pay for his kefer. He's hype kefer. He's hype double. So you're not going to sell him to pay up the kefer.
Pay off the kefir.
Right. That's what the first thing. That's the first Rosh. It's not relevant to us. So I'll put into parentheses over here. I'm sorry for the sloppy job here. Let me just fix it up. For some reason it. I didn't get there yet. Something's wrong with the thing. Okay. So the first thing is we never sell below kefilo. You don't sell him to pay up the kefil. You only sell him if he doesn't have money to pay for his geneva, the keren, the principle of what he stole. But if he has money for that, he doesn't have money to pay for his kefil, you're not going to sell him for that. He put it on the bill, he owes it, but he's not going to sell him because of that. Another drasha, we never sell below his mamo, that you only sell him if he stole, but not because he was Adam Zomumi. That takes us back to Makos. No, we didn't learn it yet. Makos, fast forwards us to Makos, that if somebody said testimony that somebody stole, and then Adam come, and then Adam Zomim, people come and say, Amazim them, they say that you couldn't have, your testimony can't be true because you weren't there at the time, you were someplace else. So we punish them whatever they wanted to do. So if they wanted to be mechayiv somebody to pay $1,000, so he has to pay $1,000 to him. So that's the Adam Zomim. How about the case where the Adam Zomim, they testify somebody stole, and that person would have been sold for an evidence because he didn't have money to pay for such a thing, for such an amount, and they became Zomumin. They were proven that they were liars and they weren't even there. So then we're going to say that they have to pay that amount, that they also don't have money to pay. So they're going to be sold as an eved. No, they're going to be sold with lobis mamo. That even though usually Zomum is kasha zamam, you do whatever they wanted to do, and here they wanted to do it, then we should do it to them. But the pasuk has a big name. So you only sell them if you actually stole. You don't sell them because to pay up his because he wanted to make somebody else be sold.
Whatever they said, and then the guy supposed to get malchus. They get malchus.
I think so.
That's the all of the din.
Whatever they said about the guy, he was going to get malchus because what they testified.
So then he's high, then they're high malchus.
Will they get malchus?
If it means death, then surely it means malchus.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But not to be sold.
But it's not to be sold. Now that's the Mishnah. There says a few exceptions that don't go to Torah mikvah. If they want to mix that, there's an exception to the rule. Yeah, there's a custom.
Yeah, we'll get it. Nice.
Malchus is a good one. I can't wait.
Another year at least. It's about another year.
First over there, the Gemara over there in Marcus, I was looking it up. First, the Gemara thought the case was that maybe he didn't have money to pay for that geneva. They don't testify he should be sold for an evet. They testify that he stole, and someone who stole doesn't have money, he's sold for an evet. So the Gemara talks about all the possibilities that the one they testified against, he didn't have enough money, and they did have enough money. Now that they have to pay, or the opposite, he did have enough, they don't have enough money. The Gemara then comes out that even if he didn't have money and they don't have money, and according to all their logic, we should have said that they do have to be sold. But that you don't sell the Edom Zomim for wanting to make somebody else be sold. That was extra credit, a little cruise over there. And now we go back to what we wanted. The price continues. Only for one geneva. Only for one geneva. Once he was sold for a geneva, you don't sell him a second time.
It's explicit.
What do you mean? The Brisa says it, right? The Brisa says Sakasha. The Brisa said that Amavri is not sold twice. And it says Mashen came Ivri, which means that every Ivri is sold twice. And this Brisa says that every Ivri is not sold twice. What's the drush exactly? Not so clear. It says B'gneva so. You know, here you don't stress the vav. It doesn't mean his geneva, not somebody else's. Here the point is geneva. Geneva means one for a geneva, but not for more than once. One geneva, not two genevas. That's what the Gemara seems to say. So you're not going to sell them twice. So it's a kasha. Still in the Brisa. One Brisa said that you do sell them twice, and here the Brisa says you don't sell them twice. Amar Rav, low kasha. Not difficult. You can reconcile the Brises. Kan b'gneva achas, kan b'shtei genevos. For one geneva, you don't sell them twice, which means l'chora that if you stole a lot of money, and one sale of 6 years is not enough to cover, so you want to sell him again. So you can't sell him again. But if he stole 2 separate times, for each theft, you could sell him. You could sell him.
It was simultaneously.
Why do you say simultaneously?
Well, is it before they judged him on both of the cases?
So it's very good. Rashi goes into your avenue, and I'm not sure why. I mean, I didn't understand Rashi, but Rashi goes with you that.
If they did the first one and judged him, and then he does another one. No.
If it was one, Hamad B'din, was it in one din Torah? Was it one din Torah about both of them? Both neighbors together were judged, and now the question is
Well,
to.
it's two different people.
We didn't say two people. We didn't say two people. We didn't talk about that. We just talked about one theft or two thefts. One, how do you
If a
say?
guy,
One robbery or
if the
two robberies?
owner, if the one who got stolen from.
So we didn't talk about that. It doesn't. The Gemara doesn't seem to talk about that yet. In two,
Well,
more, in
and
two
I'm
more
just
lines.
thinking if one person got stole from his house and he got stole from his business, he's gonna make two different claims. He's gonna put it all together and you make one claim. I would think.
It could be that the person stole two different times. Not all. No, there's one ganav over here, right? Don't one ganav, of course. One ganav, the same ganav. So there were two thefts. He stole twice.
So I would think two thefts, even if it's the same person.
Well, fine. So the Gemara Taka doesn't say anything about people. It talks about thefts, and it has a difference between one theft or two thefts. That by one theft, you're not going to sell him two times for the same theft, even though the money that he owes is more than a 6-year sale. He needs more. And if it's two thefts, then you will sell him.
So what do I
Twice.
care if the two thefts happened? I mean, if the two thefts happened simultaneously, or if they happened years apart? What do I care?
So Rashi talks about what Chaim David wanted over here. The two thefts, even if it was the din Torah was on both of them together.
Are you at Kiddush with the neighbor?
I mean, this Rashi can't be vachas, can't be neighbors. Rashi says a little bit more than I'm saying. I'm trying to simplify it for myself and anybody else that wants to do it simply. That Rashi puts in more information. But Rashi says that if he was two neighbors, even if he didn't come to the din Torah until both of them, he stole in Nisan, then he stole again in Iyar, and then he got him to Bezdin, and now the Bezdin is talking about the two neighbors. So you don't sell them twice. You don't make the calculation of twice. The maximum you're going to sell them is only for 6 years, even though there were two thefts.
That's for the same person.
Yeah, we didn't talk about right. We're not talking about right. We're not yet differentiating people. We're talking about neighbors, two thefts. Even if what are we going to say? I'm getting a little confused. That I'll try to do it more without Rashi. It's a little bit simpler for me. I'm David asked the advanced question. I'll just try to do it simple. Here it says
two bank robberies in the same day.
I'll try to do it simple
Two
without
bank robberies in two different ones. And then he gets.
two neighbors. For two neighbors, you would sell them because two neighbors, so you sell them for each one. The first neighbor he stole, so you will sell them for that. And there's another Geneva, you'll sell them again.
Yeah.
The Amavriya, it's never sold twice. Amavriya is only sold maximum one time by Geneva, by a man that he sold for his Geneva. So if it is two Genevas, he will sell them twice. But it says in the price, you don't sell them twice. That means for Geneva Achas, which would mean that he stole a big amount. And even if you sell them 6 years, it's not enough to cover. You don't sell them more than once. Is that easy? I mean, it's easy enough. It is more complicated. Rashi talks about more complication. But I'm just trying to keep simple for my simplicity. Abaye, so tuba mashma. Abaye doesn't agree that if there were two thefts, it's considered two separate. That is the pasuk is not talking about. The pasuk that we learn out that for one geneva, not two genevas, even if it would be two separate thefts, it's still called one geneva. As Rashi says that he sold for his robbery. The word robbery doesn't have to mean each episode is called another robbery. He sold for his robbing. So robbing would even include that if it would be two thefts. Two robberies. It's still
two different ones.
Yeah. I think Rashi says that that's what the Gemara's kasha is. Without Rashi, I'll try. Abaye said that the word Geneva so that we're darshaning to say one Geneva and not two, that doesn't come to exclude two robberies, because two robberies is also called robbery. So he doesn't agree to Rava. And he says that even in the case where there were two robberies, he also will only be sold once. So what is the buyer going to say? When is the lacha that he is sold twice? Who is the nignav? Who is the one who was stolen from? If it was one person, even if it was many robberies, he's only sold once. But if it was he stole from two people, so then each one is a separate case. And over there, he'll be sold twice. So we answered the kasha. Okay. I also am happy with the simplicity. Rashi has more, and I don't know. Chaim David also was going to Rashi's Avenue. I didn't get it. But for the first time around. So we have an answer. We're happy that by Amavriya, she's never sold more than once. By Ganav, he sometimes will be sold more than once. Rabbi said for 2 robberies, and Rabbi said for robbing from 2 people. But of course, from the same person, it's still gonna only be sold once. The Gemara doesn't so much talk about how do you see this in the word 1 and not 2. Geneva, his Geneva. Rabbi thought that Geneva means a robbery, and Abai says robbery includes many. So how do you see 1 person, 2 people? That I'm not sure exactly how Abai sees that. For 2 people, he will be sold. I'm not sure in the drasha world, but that's what the fact seems to come out. Tana Rabbanan, Genevo elef v'shavach hamesh meos. What if he stole 1,000 and he himself to be sold for 6 years is only going to be 500? Means he made a big robbery. 12 years worth of his being a slave. So what do we know?
So he's not fulfilling his obligation. Payback. Mention.
So what do we do? Do we say
think it needs to be a double?
so? It says nimka v'chozav nimka. He sold twice.
What is this? A price or this is?
There's a price, a Tana Rabbana. Tana Rabbana. So this seems to contradict what we just finished talking about. We just finished saying that if there's 1 Geneva, he's not going to be sold twice for 1 Geneva. Here, this is surely 1 Geneva. This wasn't even 1 person with 2 Geneva. This is 1 Geneva. So 1 Geneva, we said for sure that he's not sold twice. Isn't that what we just finished saying?
So you can define the first case, the Kamala as 2 Genevas, but less than 6 years of work.
I'm not sure what you're saying.
I'm
The
saying
Bryce before said
it
that if
doesn't
it's 1
come to the
Geneva,
full.
you to sell him only one. You sell him only 1 time. That's what we're saying. 1 Geneva, whatever 1 Geneva means. You sell him. You don't sell him twice. You only sell him once. This Bryce says they sell him twice. He stole double his value. When I say value, it means value of 6 years' work.
Right.
Sell him for an evid, he'll get 500, whatever. And he stole 1,000. So he stole double his value. So according to what we learned a second ago, we should say that he's only sold once. He's not sold twice for the same Geneva. And this Bryce says he's selling twice. So that's difficult. And Tais has the Kasha and Rashi. Tais says a different shot. But there's a simple
It's not
end.
like he sold him twice. It's that he sold him to the value of 2 Genevas.
It says you sell them
Two
twice.
full.
I'm not sure what you're saying. Nimka b'chosav v'nimka. It says here you sell them and you sell them again. That means that the sale is a 6-year sale. And then that paid for half of his Geneva. And then you sell them again for another 6 years to pay for the other half of the
Only
Geneva.
because it doesn't come to the right amount of money.
Yes, no one's going to sell them more than he.
Right. So, I'm
So
saying,
the Bryce said before that for a Geneva, you don't sell them twice. So it contradicts. You have an answer?
yeah, because the Geneva you don't sell it twice because
The Bryce
because
before said,
it's less than 6 years of work.
the Bryce,
His payback is going to happen.
the Bryce said before, you don't sell them twice. The Bryce said before,
But I'm trying to find the
the
right.
Geneva so, and Rabbi explained that it means Geneva Achas. Abai said that even 2 Genevas is also called Geneva Achas, but everyone agrees that Geneva Achas is called Geneva Achas. And it says that you don't sell them. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Ken. Okay, so, Ken, yeah, I'm in the middle, but just tell me, but tell me in short, tell me. Okay, that's also, it's done for that also, but go ahead. So today I have to take my mother to a doctor's appointment, so I won't be back till about 5 or something like that. But we could call it for 5. That's good.
Hey,
Probably tomorrow's Wednesday. Probably I'm not. My head is not all here, but probably.
so you want to do it?
Okay, so we'll talk again. I'll talk again then.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Okay.
On the right.
Okay, so that's a contradiction. The Gemara before said that you don't sell them twice for 1 Geneva, and here it does seem to say you sell them once, you sell them twice for the same Geneva. Seems to contradict.
The other way. I'm listening. Keep on. I'm listening. No, but I'm still saying that. I'm trying to say that it's about the amount of money. That's what causes the double.
Before it said you don't sell them for 1 Geneva.
Yeah.
Of course.
No, I'm saying that
that's-
it can only be maybe it's only talking about within the range of the
That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. That he has to be sold more than once for his Geneva. And it says you don't, and here it says you do. We're all together. So there's a simple answer. You put in the word Eino Chosav Nimka, which the Gemara says that the Rambam has that girsa. So
which one in the Gemara?
yeah,
What was it? Put it, they know.
Eino. He says here, where's the Gemara? Try to find the Gemara on the side over here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I trust you. Thank you, I appreciate it.
The Eno
Blowing the wind.
I've got a Gemara. Yes, it's a Rambam. Be'eino Chosav Nimka. V'cheinu b'mechilta v'gersa nechona mod. So that would help. That would help to explain the Gemara. You change, put in the word, and Rashi doesn't have this. Rashi has gersa the way we have it, but it's a contradiction. And Taisa has a kasha that explains different than Rashi. But this would solve the problem. If you say Nimka be'eino Chosav Nimka, that means he sold once. He's not sold the second time. So even though from the sale you only got half of the Geneva, that's all you could get. You can't sell him a second time. You heard the answer? There's another. It's a simple way out. That you change the gersa. Nimka ve'eino chosav nimka. Okay, so we're happy.
It's opposite meaning.
So there's a question of the gersa over here. The Rambam has his gersa. He says sold to the mechilta, and it makes everything good. The mechilta has that gersa. We didn't make it. We didn't change the gersa.
Yeah, that's great.
We didn't change the gersa because we didn't like it. We changed the gersa because there is such a gersa. The mechilta has that, and it makes sense, and it fits with the Gemara before. The other has a different gersa.
No, he worked and it was 500 and he owed 1,000 and it's over.
Right, and now he owes the money still, but you're not going to sell him. You're not going to sell him.
Stole the money.
Why shouldn't he own the money? He stole.
He owes the money, but he only paid back half. So
Paid back half. You're not going to sell him again to get paid, so he puts it on his bill. I owe. I still owe. And when he gets money, he becomes rich. When there's a lot of whatever happens, then he's going to pay back. But you're not going to sell him twice. How about the opposite? He stole half of his value. His value is for 6 years, means that he can get 1,000. If you sell him for 6 years, you get 1,000.
in other words, when you sell, it's a 6-year
Sale. And here it says that he
and the
sold.
6-year sale is going to be worth 1,000.
Right, and he only stole 500.
He can redeem himself.
No, in
So Enanim Kaklal, you don't sell him. You don't sell him not for 3 years either. You don't do it partial. Only if he stole at least the amount that he's worth for 6 years. You don't sell him for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only 6. And if you stole less than that,
any amount less. They just gave an
any
example.
amount less, right? Correct.
Do you-
Any
That's
amount
why,
less.
in other words, if somebody
Maybe,
So that's very rare.
small amount.
Yeah,
there's no
very
way
good.
that-
He stole a small amount. It's not so small, less than his value as an for 6 years. It's a lot of money.
Mhm.
I imagine an for 6 years costs a lot of money.
it depends how old he is, how strong he is.
Okay.
But do you have his bound the rayon over here? Why has to be exactly what can
No.
be done?
So it doesn't say exactly so far. Tanakama says not exactly, but it has to be at least as much as he is worth. If he stole less than he's worth, you're not going to sell him for less than 6 years. And you're not going to sell him for 6 years and give him back the change. You just sell him if he stole at least as much as he's worth for 6 years. And the beginning said that if he stole more than he's worth, so you'll say according to the Rambam's gear, so you'll sell him once, and the rest of it not. According to that gear. That's a pearl. I don't understand it, but he says
It's like the
that
same
only no. He says no.
It's
I'll
exactly-
just read it. I'll translate it then and see if it's the same. It says that only if the Geneva was exactly as much as his value, but if not, he's not sold. That means that if it was more, also, not only the case of he was
Oh,
worth more than it, even the case
not
where
even
he
more.
stole more.
Or more
Also,
or
you're not
less.
going to sell him at all. Tanakama says, I'm going according to the Rambam's Gersa, that if he stole more than he's worth, so you sell him one time, and the rest you don't sell him for. But let's say you don't sell him at all. You only sell him if he stole exactly how much it's worth for 6 years.
Who says that?
If he stole a coin,
Ton.
yes. If he stole according to how much he's worth, then you sell him. If not, you don't. So if he stole less, you don't sell him. If he stole more, you don't sell him. Tanakama says if he stole more, you do sell him, but only for 6 years, not more.
That's also, it's always exactly 40.
Very real.
How could that- yeah.
Very
This is the same
rare.
kasha as
Very
the
rare.
chetzi over there. Same kasha.
Very
They
rare.
cost-
You're gonna
So I don't know
have
the answer.
very few slaves. That's
Yes.
gonna
Not
be
never.
a
Yes.
reality.
$1,222, that's it, you know. That's what he stole, that's, yeah.
No, no, no.
No, probably, let's say he stole let's say he stole it $100,000. They probably don't sell it for 99.9, whatever, he sold it.
Okay, so it's a fella. But anyway, Tanakama
not
says you do
talking
sell
about
him if he's worth more. You don't sell him if I'm sorry. You do sell him if he stole more than his value. You don't sell him if he stole less than his value.
Are we talking about his value?
Working
His-
6 years.
Huh?
His value for working 6 years.
But isn't that subjective to each person?
Yes, of course. How much he's worth on the market?
How much is his worth on the market? And then what, 6 years of that?
6 years of value. If he sold for a slave for 6 years, how much would he be worth?
Okay.
According to Rabbi Lezer, only if
And
that's
if
how
he
much
had a
he stole.
job, that'd be way.
What does the job mean? What can you do?
He's
He asked
getting 30,000 a year.
whatever.
And,
So as a state, he would do that. The master would say, "Keep on your job, then I get the 30,000. I'll make the judgment how much I want to buy for a slave." Amar Rava, that was the end of the Brisa. Amar Rava, the following claim, Rabbi Lezer won the argument. Means Rabbi Lezer is going to explain the Rava is going to explain Rabbi Lezer's argument against Rabbanan and show that he's right. The Maishna
What's the fun?
Zechin was like when you win over, like he was victorious. But the following thing, he was victorious. Rabbi Lezer was victorious over the Rabbanan. The following taina is going to show how he's right. The Maishna how come you agree that if he stole less than he's worth, that you don't sell him? The Nimkar because as you sell him, the Nimkar, that sounds you sell him completely. You don't sell him half of him. You don't sell him for 3 years. If that's you agree to that drasha, you're a bun, you agree to the drasha that you don't sell him for less than he is worth. So if that's true, so I'm also right. So then you have to sell him for his whole geneva, not for half his geneva. The same way you say that you don't sell him for less than his value, you also don't sell him if it's for more than his value. You're not going to tell him to be never for 6 years and then the geneva was more. It has to be the worth of the geneva. So Rava seems to agree with Rabbi Lezer. I don't know how we pass him. It does seem to say the letter of the Rambam doesn't seem to say by Rabbi Lezer, but the Rava seems to say that Rabbi Lezer is right. That you don't sell them for more or less, only if it was sold for the geneva, not more, not less.
I didn't get
The same reason Rabbanan agree. If Rabbanan would say, I don't care, you sell them, if it's less, let him work 3 years or let him get back the change. But they don't say that. They agree that if he stole less than his value, you don't sell him. So for the same drasha, you also should come out that you're not going to sell him for more either. Because of the pasuk. You're coming with a pasuk now. We're not saying logic, we're saying shukkim.
So
His geneva, not for half his geneva, not for more than his geneva.
Not less. Why don't you say not less?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the end of the kasha. Rabbi Lezer won. The end. If the curtain goes down, Rabbi Lezer's right.
So there are very few people that can say.
Right. Probably never would happen. Probably wouldn't happen that he stole exactly how much he's worth for 6 years. I don't know. Okay. So I'm not saying it has like
Maybe
that,
I'm
but
just thinking now that if someone wants to get him sold, so he'll say, let's say he's really worth a little less.
no, you have to ask the real. No. How do you say no?
No tricks.
No tricks.
Why? Maybe, but you can't. I want him.
He doesn't want. The Torah says you're not allowed to sell him, so you're gonna
So
say.
I'm willing to buy him for this price. He
No.
owes me $90,000, and he's worth 95. He owes me 100, and he's worth 95. So I'd rather get my money back. So I say I'm willing to buy him for 95. This way he'll be sold for 6 years to me.
I think that they can't do that. I think they want. Ksubas talks about if they can say that sometimes talks about. It's more to me. They were second Ksubas they wanted to do that. And I'm in low. There was a question over there about being different, so it has to be a Shabbat dinner, whatever. So I'll say that fees for the Shabbat dinner. I'm not sure if you can do that. I don't think so.
And selling himself has no bearing.
I think so. I think that
Because this person isn't talking about selling himself.
right. When probably Gneva so that's the pasuk. If he sold for,
So, I see.
I'm talking about Gneva. So before that, Machlok is about if other aspects of Mocher Asmos is similar as far as Shifcha Kananis and Ma'anak, all kinds of halachas. But over here, I don't think it's telling the Machlok, even those who hold that Mocher Asmos has the same halachas. But as far as I don't think as it applies to over here, there's nothing to do with Gneva. There's nothing to talk about. There's no Gneva. We can't even talk about it. There's no Gneva. He just wants to sell himself. So.
Okay.
And I think, imagine also he can sell himself twice also. The whole thing we spoke about not selling him twice also doesn't apply to Mocher Satzma. Then it came this part of the Brisa, Mafta Nosa Balkarcha, which we said we didn't understand. It says you can redeem her against his will. You can redeem the Amar Via against his will. Against whose will? That was the question. Against whose will? So if the
You
person,
can redeem
the
her.
Amar via her against his will. So against the will of the owner, that's true, but you also could redeem the Ivri also against the will of the owner. So the Gemara doesn't even consider that possibility. That's what it means. When you redeem him, it means even if he doesn't want to, you come with the money and you pay him the difference of how much he didn't work yet, then you redeem the both the Amar via and the
Look
Ivri.
at it again. Who's plugged in his family?
Or he has money.
Bar Karcha means the other.
Yeah.
Okay, the Gemara to discuss now. Okay, fine.
So Rabba the Rabba thought that the Baisa means against the will of the master. Now I think the Gemara doesn't mean what we said because you see Bais Kasha right away is not gonna explain it the way we explained. So I think that our explanation that it's against the will of the owner that he doesn't want to take money and let her or him go free is not true because by a man also by Evedivi also be the same thing. If the Evedivi comes up with the money, it says openly in the pasuk that he redeems himself. So that's not what Rava meant. And Abai explains what Rava meant, and he's going to argue. Amalei Abai, what do you mean to say against the will of the Adam? That we give him a check, that you don't have cash. You want to just give it I owe you note. So you can come to the master of the Amar Bria and give him a check. I owe you money. Not a check that's payable today, but it means you give him an IOU note, and I owe you the money. The Amar Bria was worth whatever, 5,000, 6,000, and it's already past 2 years already, so 4,000 left. So I'll give you an IOU note for the 4,000, and you have to let her go. And when I get money, I'll pay you. So that's what it means. It means that this the Gemara understood. This we call Bal Korchi Da'adam. If he doesn't want to accept the money, that's not called Bal Korchi because by the Evidiri also you could redeem him against the will of the master. But it means that you force him to accept the IOU note and wait for his money. Is that what it means? Amamai. He has a pearl in his hand. Why should we force the master to accept the IOU note instead of his shifta? He has Amavriya, and you're telling him take the IOU note, then we'll have money one day. He's holding on to a pearl, and you're going to give him a shard, a piece of earthenware instead. Means the IOU note is not worth anything. So that's not true. You're not going to force the master to take an IOU note and let his shifta go free. So Abaye rejects a Rabba's pshat. So what does it mean that you redeem her against his will? What does it mean? Against the will of the father.
I'm sorry, again, Nakit.
Nakit, he's holding Marganisa, a pearl, in his hand. We give him a shard, a piece of earthenware, broken earthenware. Means he has a shifchon, giving him an IOU note. What's the worth of an IOU note? If you give him money, you give him money. But you're not giving him money. You're giving him that I'm going to pay you one day. That's not worth anything. Elam Rabbaye, a new pshat in these words. What does it mean that you redeem the Amar Vriya against his will? Whose will? Against the will of the father. The father doesn't want her to be redeemed, and we force him that he has to agree. Mishum begam mishpacha, because it's a defect to the family. The family doesn't want that one of their family members should be enslaved, that he sold his daughter. The family isn't happy about it, and they want to redeem. So we force, even though the father says, I don't want her to be redeemed. So there's a question over here: who's paying? Who's paying? Who's paying for this redemption? It says that the family is not happy, so we force against the will of the father.
Everybody besides the father wants to pay.
So who do we force?
Force the father to allow it to happen.
To allow it to happen. But who's paying?
Somebody else in the family. What do you say?
You said the father, what did you say?
Father's not involved. He's not. Oh, you want to say we force the father to?
That's what the Yaakov said. You force the father because the family's not happy. The father sold.
Well, it's against his will. It says against the will of the father.
Against the will of the father. He says he's not happy about it. But what's not happy about it? So you're saying that you're taking money out of his pocket.
I don't get this. He has a right to sell him. The Torah gives me a right to sell him. So how can you say this is not mishpach?
And then we force him to buy your back.
But he says that I did what the Torah lets me do.
And they're not happy because they said pagam to the mishpacha.
So that's your problem. I'm doing what the Torah says.
So according to this, if he has money, now he has money.
I mean, he got a Yerusha.
Now he has money. So every time he has money, whenever he sold there, right away he has money. So Bezdin should knock on the door and say, you have to buy your back. This is Taisus' problem. Taisus has a problem that if you're forcing the father, so then he has a right to sell. and the one is going to say soon he could sell again and again. And I think it's similar to what Avrohom is saying. It's not exactly the way Tyson says it, but the father has a right to sell, and now they're going to force him to pay it back because he has money. So there's nothing's happening. It's a vicious cycle. He's selling, and then we're forcing him to buy it back. He's selling, they're forcing him to buy it back. So this pshat is a little difficult. So there's another pshat, the Chaim David's pshat.
So what did Abai mean?
What Abai means? So Chaim David has another pshat, different than you. That he says that the family wants to pay for it.
I mean,
the father
the
doesn't-
mother and the brothers. I wouldn't.
So why do
They
they
force
want
it
it?
against
Why
the
do they,
father's
why do
will,
they
and
want
the
it?
family.
They want the family wants to redeem her because she's a shifcha. They don't want the family member to be a shifcha, so they want to redeem her. And the father says no. We said we're not asking for any money. We're going to pay the money. No, I don't want. Why not? Why shouldn't he want?
He wants to teach her a lesson.
He's embarrassed.
Teach her a lesson.
Embarrassed of
Don't do
what?
it again.
He's embarrassed that she's been redeemed. He should be embarrassed that he sold it. Okay, so he got the money. He got his money. Now the family wants to redeem her. They're not asking for any money. Your shot was they're asking him for money. So he doesn't want. But now we're saying Chaim David's shot that.
Didn't he sell it because he didn't have enough money?
Okay, but now we're saying that
So, and the family didn't give him money.
okay. So now the family wants to redeem her. What's his problem?
Good, okay.
So you have any shot? You said the shot. You have any
I
shot?
already said
He
this.
wants to marry. He wants to marry the other or the son.
I'm sorry. Back to farm.
He wants him to marry the other or the son.
What's
He
weird
wants
without-
her to marry. He wants her to get married to the other. Dr. Fine is saying that he doesn't want it to be redeemed because he thinks it's a good shidduch. So
Oh.
leave her around until the master will,
Until the last
marry her.
Last opportunity.
Okay, maybe.
I
Chaim
don't get
David-
this. It's very weird that it's a good shidduch. And the other's also about 12 years old.
No, but you see that the Torah recognized that the father sold it to somebody who could take her as a wife.
Obviously, it's a
So
Havamina
he didn't
that she can
just
marry.
put her in the classified ads and looking for somebody to buy. He picked out who's going to be the buyer.
Or
What
the
are you saying? Why
master's,
should
the
the
master's
father-
son.
Why is the father objecting?
Why is father object if the family is paying for it?
Something about that, his decision was that she should be a slave to him full time. The
Yeah,
guy
but
decided
Rashi is
to-
because he needed the money. It's time to. So
Maybe-
Taisus does say something about it. This is a little dochak. Dr. Fine made it nicer, I think. But Taisus says that he doesn't want her to come back home, and then he's going to have to support her. He tells the family, very
He's a
nice.
tough guy.
You're not going to help me out with my problem. You're going to start helping out that she got redeemed, but now she's not going to your house, going to my house. So that's a possibility also. So it seems, according to Taisus learns that we allow the family to redeem her, even if the father is not happy about it. But the Gemara is bothered now. Yachi eved ibri nami nechfinu levnei mishpacha mishum pagam mishpacha. So this maybe is a little difficult, but the Gemara is saying if your problem is pagam mishpacha, so then by eved ibri also we should force somebody to redeem him. Means eved ibri not eved ibri. You don't allow him. You don't force anybody to be redeemed against the will. How are you going to get them the brisa now? If you figure out the brisa means that you do force the father to allow the relatives to redeem her, what would be the parallel when it says, but every is different? The Chorah B'Shad is going to be, the words don't fit so well, I think, but the words are going to be that you're going to force the Eved to be redeemed. The Mishpacha wants to redeem him. He sold himself. And the Mishpacha wants to redeem him because they're not happy that a relative of theirs is an Eved. So, and he doesn't want to be redeemed for some reason. So it says here that Mashiach and Eved Ivri, that you cannot redeem him against his will. Why not? This was a little difficult. The question would be, the word should say that let the Bnei Mishpacha force him, let the Bnei Mishpacha force him, Bishum Pagam Mishpacha. They're not happy. The same reason you allow the Bnei Mishpacha to redeem the Amavriya against the will of the father, because they don't want a relative who's a shifcha. So you should allow the relatives to redeem the Eved Ivri, even though the Eved Ivri is not happy about it. For some reason, he wants to be an Eved Ivri. So we should redeem him against his will, because the family is not happy that he is a Eved. The Gemara says over there, you have no Eitzah. Over there, he's the boss. He's going to sell himself again. So you're going to redeem him. It's not worth anything because he's going to sell himself again. So there's no guarantee that by letting him to be redeemed, that he's going to get out of the pagam. The family is still going to be embarrassed because he's going to make himself a slave again. If so, by the shif also, the father's going to sell her again. What are you accomplishing by allowing the relatives to redeem her against the will of the father will sell her again. No, can't. That she can't be sold a second time. So that's the difference between Eved Ivri and Shem Amavriya. The Amavriya cannot be sold twice. So therefore, we do allow the family to redeem her against the will of the father.
And he can't go back and.
Because he can't
So
sell her
there's no
again.
vicious
So we took care of no Kamish Bacha. The family, but by Eved Ivri, we're not going to allow him to be redeemed against his will because he's going to outdo it. He's going to sell himself again. Period. So we're happy with the Bryson. The Gemara goes back to the point that we left out of it before, that it says that a shifcha is not sold twice. We didn't talk about it. We just talk about the difference between the Eved and the shifcha, but we didn't get to the root of the issue. Where do you see that a shifcha cannot be sold twice? Why not? He sold his daughter, and then she came back home, whatever the case was, 6 years yovel. Now he wants to sell her again. Why can't he sell her a second time? Where do you get it from? Mani Reb Shimoni. This brisa that says you cannot sell a shifcha twice, a daughter as a shifcha twice is Reb Shimon. We're going to see it's not so simple. They're one to argue. The Tanya. The commas after the word v'shona. A person can sell his daughter, not really selling, for marriage. Means he's Makadish's daughter. A father has the right to marry off his daughter. He married her off, and then they divorced before Nisuin. Just Erisin alone. Once she has Nisuin, then she's out of the jurisdiction of the father. But he just was Erisin, and then she got divorced. So the father wants to marry her off a second time. So he could. He still has jurisdiction over his daughter after she was betrothed and divorced. He can marry her off again. That's called a person can sell his daughter. It doesn't mean selling. It means he can marry off his daughter and do it again. He still has jurisdiction even after she was divorced. He did it once. He can marry her a second time. The shifchus v'shona. Oh, this is against what we said. This says that he can sell her for a maid servant and do it a second time. That's against what we said. We said that he cannot. That's going to be Reb Shimon coming up. Tanakama says he could. The isha sacha shifchus. Also, first he sent her, sold her for a shifcha. Over 6 years, however she got out, and then he wants to marry her off. She's still not 12 and a half. He's the jurisdiction over his daughter. He may marry her off after he sold her for a shifcha. Of course, she's out. She became out of the shifcha. He sold her for a shifcha. She got released, and now he marries her off. He also could do that. But once he married her off, and then she got divorced, he can't.
Even though she's a minor,
Right?
you can't sell her.
He can't sell her anymore.
Uh-huh.
We'll see soon why. Reb Shimon Omer. Just like you agree that he cannot sell her for servitude after marriage. That's what you just said. That was the last thing you said. The maskim that after she was married, he betrothed her and he got divorced. He can't sell her for a shifcha. So too can't sell for a shifcha. That's what we said before. That our Brisa said that he can't sell a daughter for a shifcha twice. That goes according to Reb Shimon. So we found that our Brisa machlokes, and our Brisa holds like Reb Shimon.
What did he say?
That you can't sell a daughter twice.
He was the original Tana who said that?
We didn't have the name. Now we have the name.
Now we get it.
Bottom line, we flip to Tanya Tana. We have a machlokes other Tana that are arguing at this point. The Tanya. Here goes the pasuk bevigdo ba. So we need the pasuk over here. It should be on the side someplace. Bevigdo ba. Here it is. Shmos 21:5. If it says that the master could marry her, if he doesn't want to, he allows her to be redeemed, but he cannot sell her. The Pashup Shat, which the Gemara is going to mention also this Pashup Shat, that he cannot sell her to somebody else. When he betrayed her, like Begida, the word Begida. They're saying you can't do it a second time. Right. It says that he's bogeyed by not marrying her, whatever the Begida is going to be.
But right now we're talking about the master.
The master cannot sell her the Vigdoba. So I didn't know. So it seems that the master betrayed her by not marrying her. But Avnison is pointing out that it's going to be going on the father. What?
The guy that bought her.
The guy that bought her was destined to marry her. He betrayed her by marrying, so he can't sell. He can't sell her. So he lets her to be redeemed. But Avnison is saying the Gemara is no darshan as far as the father. The father was bogey. Let's see. So the Gemara that's the possibility.
The second time.
What is that?
comes to the pasuk with the father. Doesn't mention that it's the second time.
They shouldn't sell her a second time. It could be a second time also. She was sold to me and I want to sell it to somebody else. But I didn't look at Rashi. Rashi probably says what you said. So back to the Gemara. The last words. It says in the pasuk, "Bevigdoba, Ivan, Shepires Taliso, Shuben Rishayim Morcha." Rabbi Kiva. So Rabbi Kiva doesn't learn the thing of Bigdo Begida. The word Beis Gimel Dalet can either mean Begida, which means betrayal, or it can mean Beged. A Beged is a garment. So Rabbi Kiva seems to dash in garment.
Was it the three things? So on the
No, the word beged, the begdo, the bigdo. So there's a drash to say here that once or betrothal. It's called betrothal over here. So why is it called spreading out the talis? For master I'm not sure. Usually I would think that is nisuin, but here the Gemara is talking about betrothal. So once once the husband betrothed her, the father is not allowed to sell her anymore. So that means that's where Rabbi Kiva got from, that once he married off his daughter, he can't sell her anymore. That's how
when
he
you
got
say betrothal, they talking about Nisuin or Yerusalem?
everything.
Even that levels the father can't.
The father cannot, right? Usually, once she is married, then surely the father's out. But it just means Erusin, the Iyud. Erusin. Now, I don't know why Erusin is called Piris Talisa. Usually, you say Piris Talisa, it sounds more like Nisuin. I don't know. I didn't look around, but that's what it sounds like from the context. We're talking about Erusin. So once the father betrothed her to somebody, he's not and any more privileged, whatever, and allowed to sell her. That's why we keep it said, "Ein shifra sachar ishus."
Oh, can't sell.
So he does the word the way we learned, but bigdo means bogave, a betrayer. And once he betrayed her, he's not allowed to sell her again. And that's going to mean that once he sold her as a shifra, that's called a betrayal, then he's not allowed to sell her a second time. The father sold her, that's called a begida, and then he's not allowed to sell her anymore. This part is like Rabbi Shimon, you're right. The Gemara is going to say there is a difference between them, but you're right in this point that once he...
It doesn't seem like there's a difference.
That's okay, we'll see more.
Because then,
Now the Gemara
you're both
explains.
saying you can't sell her again.
Right. But the Gemara says, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Kiva, Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Lezer, Savi Yeshem L'Mazores. Rabbi Kiva, Savi Yeshem L'Mikra. Rabbi Shimon, Savi Yeshem L'Mikra V'L'Mazores. So that's a question in the Drasha. If you read it Bevigdo or Bevogdo, means the way we have it in the Kudos, it says Bevigdo.
Which means marriage, Jerusalem. Going to the
Betrayal.
more.
So that seems to be the issue over here. Now it seems, I can't say for sure, but I think that Rashi said that the word Bogade, Begida would be Kivin Shabogad. The Bogad, to be Bogade, Bogad would be Bogad. And it doesn't say in the Torah how you read it. It has Beis Gimel Dalet, the Beis Gimel Dalet. You can read it Bigdo or you can read it Bogdo. So Yeshem Lemesoris means the way we have the Mesorah, how it's supposed to be read. It means look at the word, at the letters alone, and you read it not the way, not you read it what? No, I'm getting mixed up. Who says what? Keep yourself Yeshem Lemikra. That's going to mean how you read it on your own. Am I saying right? Yeshem Lemesoris. Rabbi Lezer says. Rabbi Lezer is saying Bevigdo. Rabbi Kiva is saying that it means a beged. Rabbi Lezer is saying that it means I could be I'm saying wrong. I'm just going to try. As far as I got, then
God, that they didn't marry her off.
the word bevigdo and bevogdo. Which one? One of them is going to mean begida. One of them is going to mean a beged. One is going to mean one is betrayal and one is a garment. So which is which?
Rashi says that this is Rabbi Eliezer that means garment.
Rabbi Lezer, no. Rabbi Kiva is the one that says garment. Rabbi Kiva says Piris Talisa. Rabbi Kiva says that it means a beged. And that the Gemara says called Yeshem Mikra, which would mean the vigdo, the way we read it, the way we're told to read it. That's what Yeshem Mikra means, the way we were told to read it. And Mesoras doesn't mean the way, it doesn't mean, I made a mistake before and I was explaining. Mesoras means the tradition, but it means the tradition of how it's written. It means the way it says, look at the letters, and you could read it however you want. Don't read it the way the Rebbe read it. Mikra means the way we're supposed to read it. And Mesoras means the way it could be read. So just look at the letter, look at the text without any vowels. That's what Rabbi Elazar says. Rabbi Elazar is the one who says the Soros, that it means Digida, Vivogdo. Even though I think that in the Cheder they're going to teach Vivigdo, you read Vivigdo and you say that it means betrayal. But the Gemara is going on like that. That if you read it Vivigdo, then it's going to mean Beged. If you want to say betrayal, you have to say Bogdo. The question is if you're going to read it, if you're going to dash in it, Lashon of Beged, garment, which would be Bevigdo, or you're going to dash in it according to the way you could read the letters, which would be Bevogdo. And the Gemara says Rabbi Akiva is the one who says the Mikra. That means a Beged, Bigdo. That's called the way we're supposed to read it. I don't think it's Pashup Shan in the Pasuk. And Rabbi Elazar is going to say that it's Begida, which is if it would say Bogdo, and even though that's not the way you're supposed to read it, but we do according to the way that it's written. Yeah, everything's a drash over here, yeah. Okay, and Rab Shimon is a different opinion. Yeshem Lamikra V'Lamaso, which is dashing both of them. That's where the Gemara sees the difference, because before, here it just says, Rabbi Elazar says that if he's shifchas, he can't sell it for a shifcha anymore. Once you were boged, you sold it for a shifcha, you can't sell it for a shifcha again. But he doesn't say about marriage. But Rab Shimon said both of them. If you look back before, Rab Shimon said both. Rab Shimon, Kishem, he says both. You're not allowed to sell it for a shifcha after marriage. You can't sell it for a shifcha after shifcha. It means he does both of them. But also with Vigdo and Bogdo. So there is, you're right before, I just stressed the part that Rab Shimon said that he can't sell shifcha after shifcha, that's like a Elazar. But he also agrees he can't sell it for a shifcha after marriage. So Hidash is also like a Bakiva, the Vigdo and the Bogdo. That's
Source means how we pronounce it.
how look at the letters without the vowels and put in your own vowels. You just have a Masoros of how it's supposed to be written. Masoros of how the letters are written.
Pronounce it.
So I thought so. Also, that's why I got mixed up, and that's not seems
Well,
not.
I'm actually here when so I'm mixed up too. It
Maybe
says
that- maybe-
Masoros.
Yes.
So Masoros, whatever that means, it says Bevagdo Kasi below Bevigdo.
So that's good. That the words can be not the way you were taught in the Chumash. It says the vowels without the vowels. You could read it. The letters alone can mean
So that means Bevagdo means a garment.
no. That's what it seems not. The Vogdo would mean
Oh, Bevagdo would mean
means
I'm sorry,
betrayal.
Bevagdo means
betrayal. I'm not sure if I'm saying what Rashi says, but somehow to read the Gemara, I think that reads. Okay, there might be some questions on this, but it comes out of Machlokes. Everyone holds that after he married her off, can't marry her a second time. No, everybody seems to say that. Seems, and Machlokes about selling her for a shifcha after he married her, after he betrothed her off, or selling her for a shifcha a second time. And Rabbi Elazar and Rab Shimon, both of them say that once she was sold for a shifcha, you can't sell her a second time. Rab Shimon adds on, you can't sell her after she was married or after he betrothed her also. So those are the three opinions, either after marriage not, or after a shifcha not, or after both not. Yashiko Chacham. Thank you.
So we're up to the two dots.
I closed it
Yes,
already.
yes.
Okay, yeah, 2 dots.
Boy, Rabba, bara, vo.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and now we'll start this in a minute, and I have to just excuse myself. I have to leave at about 12:35, 12:40. If anybody wants to continue, wherever we leave off. So I just want to announce it before we start that I won't be here till the end today.